Isn't that nice? Your mom the bomb. I'm definitely not trying to get banned. Not sure why I'd get banned for doing a crypto video. I've been doing them for 3 years. All right, welcome people. Just give it a few minutes. Let a couple people join up here. Sorry, I'm a couple minutes late. Uh, my PC parts have arrived. I'm finally going to be joining the master race of PC. So I got all my parts here. I'm laying everything out. I'm gonna build it tonight. I'm really excited. All right, just gonna give it 20 more seconds here. See who joins up, and then we're just gonna give her shit. What's up, Gino? Miles, how you doing? My pleasure. All right, so let's get into it. So, welcome to the first weekly video of Ethereum and Chill with Mayne. I just want to obviously say thank you to Prime XBT. They've been helping me out lately, put on these streams for you guys. So, thanks so much to them for making this happen. Show them some appreciation. Sign up on the link in the description of the video. Follow them on Twitter. Send some money over there. You can trade metals with me on Friday. You can obviously trade crypto there as well. It's a great exchange. Obviously, nothing here constitutes financial advice. Do your own research in investing and trading. Y'all already know that. So let's get into it. I'm really excited about this one, guys. I know I've been doing the metals with main streams, and those have been getting some decent traction. Obviously, I know most of you follow me because of crypto. So I'm really excited to kind of be dipping my toes back into the crypto streaming. It's something I've missed greatly. So I'm excited to talk about it. I'm excited to share my thoughts. We're going to focus on Ethereum today, and then I'm going to do a Bitcoin stream probably sometime this week, and then I'll look at doing like just kind of a random altcoin stream later. But for today, we're going to do Ethereum. And the reason I want to do Ethereum is kind of twofold. One is it's a really good kind of proxy for the rest of the altcoin market. And two, with all this stuff happening with these DeFi dumps and shit like that, I want to talk to you guys and say, okay, is this related? You know, Ethereum at the end of the day is one of my you know, bigger bags, and it's one of the coins that obviously is not going anywhere. So you know, definitely one that you want to pay attention to, because when the next bull run happens, if it's happening already, which I tend to think it is, you know, Ethereum's going to fly high, and it's cheap relative to Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin is expensive. Even after that, you know, we dumped 30%, it's still at 10K. So anyways, my stream quality should be going up significantly starting tomorrow once I have this PC built. Mr. Jones waiting for the RT 3080. Yeah, I'm going to buy that one, but I'm going to build the first PC anyways, and then I'll just buy the new one because I don't care. What's up, Iter J? Malco, what's up? What's up? Okay, Richard, what's up? All right, so let's get into it. So focus of this stream is going to be primarily Ethereum. So the charts I'm going to be covering are Ethereum. I'm using the Bitfinex chart just because it has a lot of history. Bitfinex is not an exchange I trade on anymore. I will use an exchange like Prime XBT or Binance to trade Ethereum. But not using Bitfinex, but Bitfinex is an old exchange. It's been around a long time, so we got a lot of price history. So that's the only reason I'm going to be using it here. I mean, we can look on Binance, for example, and we don't get that area. So this looks like, you know, where did price bounce from here? And if you look at here, we can see we've got some price here that we can correlate into SR for, you know, where the market kind of found its bottom. Same goes for FUSD. Going to be using the Bitfinex chart again, simply because it has the price history. But I mean, all of these are relatively the same in terms of, you know, the actual price of the asset. If we look at Bitstamp, yikes, you know, price is basically the exact same here. So we're going to be covering Ethereum BTC, Ethereum USD. We'll briefly talk about the dollar index, and I'll explain why. But those of you who follow my metals with mainstream will know why the dollar index is important. Here's a hint, because it's the denominator here. And we'll talk a little bit about Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is the denominator in this fraction. So if you're trading FBTC, you want to know what Bitcoin is doing. That goes for all altcoins. If you're trading an altcoin versus BTC, not versus USD, you want to know what BTC is doing. Much like you want to know what dollar index is doing when you're trading gold, silver, Euro USD, anything like that. And another thing you kind of want to pay attention to is the Bitcoin dominance chart. This kind of look at that. I don't know when I drew that out, but bang, I'll take credit. This is kind of like your dollar index almost, but for crypto. So we'll be talking about these charts here. Let's start with FBTC. So what we're going to do is very similar to my metals with mainstream. Going to give you some levels, and I'm going to give you some trades that I'm watching. So starting super high time frame on FBTC here. We're looking at the weekly chart right now. Let's go out one more resolution. Let's go all the way out to the monthly. And as you can see here, we'll just take some key monthly levels here. So this is essentially where the market bottomed. Kind of in this, you know, you could call it a monthly order block. Obviously, we dipped a little bit below there, but not much. That kind of effectively was the bottom. Like, I don't see anything here that caught price. I mean, maybe you could argue it's this level here, but I'm not trying to cherry pick the bottom. If you're trading this, right, and we're dumping, and we come into this area of consolidation before all-time high, right, and we're trading in that range, once we recap that range, so I took that level from the monthly from back in 2016. Do you not think it's a good time to get bullish here? Right? Once we start breaking back in there, okay, maybe not. We'll definitely get bullish here, right? Once we break out of the range, we retest it, and then we regain it, right? Definitely a good sign to be bullish. So if you would have just waited for us to kind of regain these levels here, I didn't want to do that. Fuck you. You know, you definitely could have caught a nice portion of this, you know, move to the upside on Ethereum, okay? So if I'm just looking at the weekly on Ethereum, I'm still bullish on Ethereum Bitcoin. It can fall much further than it is and still be bullish, and I'll tell you why. Because to me, this is the base. Okay, looking at the weekly, this is the base. That was the bottom, I think, at least, right? So we came back, we retested here. This is a significant period of time here. It's not like this is just like a couple of weeks. You know what I mean? This is almost an entire year of basing here, right? So markets, right? If you want to see a move like this, right? I wonder if I can go on Bitstamp. No. What exchange would have the most Ethereum BTC history? I don't know. I'll save this for another time. I'll figure it out on my own time. But the idea here, right, is if you want to see a move like this, you need to see a period of sideways, right? And Bitcoin is a perfect example of that, right? So when you have this long consolidation, you get a big move, right? When you have a long period of consolidation, right? You can get a big move. Like if you look here, this was not that long of a consolidation, but it led to an expansive move. So when I see something like this on Ethereum, you know, almost a year of basing in previous SR, and then we broke out of that range, right? So we broke out of this price range, we reclaimed that key SR. To me, that's bullish. And if I just want to take these levels and refine them to the week, right, I can now make this a range, right? So I can say, okay, well, there's your range high. Here's your range low. Okay, so the high and then the low. So now I've taken those monthly levels and I've just refined them slightly on the weekly. And now we have a pretty nice trading range here, okay, on the weekly. We broke out of the range, we retested it, boom, held support, and we're off to the races. To me, we've cleared the first key weekly trouble area, which would be this for me. So to me, this is a key area, right? Because if we fall through this, I know this is a big price zone here, but this is the weekly chart. I'll refine it as we zoom in. But to me, if we fall below here, we could travel way back into these levels here. So ideally, what I want to be seeing here is the start of an uptrend, which is what we're seeing, right? So if we're just looking at the weekly, right, we have a year of sideways, okay? We've broken out of the range and we're potentially starting to form an uptrend. Doesn't go up in a straight line. But if we're just looking at the weekly here, where's my favorites toolbar? There we go. Right, so if we're just looking at the weekly here, sorry. Why is this fucking upside down piece of shit? Right, we can come quite deep and form a higher low. So the bullish scenario, okay, the most bullish continuation scenario using the fibs is what we've just done now, is a 0.382 retest, right? So this is your most bullish scenario for just a shallow little pullback, boom. So when you see a really strong trending market, you know, everyone wants that deep 70 to 79% retracement. Everyone wants that. It doesn't have to always come that deep, right? Because that's almost 79% retracement. It's 80% essentially, right, of the entire move. Sometimes what you'll see is a really bullish move will have just a tiny little retracement. So the most bullish place for a higher low would be here. Realistically, I wouldn't be surprised if we see a higher low form somewhere closer to the 50% mark here of this entire price swing for a higher low, for then hopefully continuation going into next year of this uptrend, right? So we could see some downward price action in September and October, right? And then we could see some strength gaining going into the end of the year, maybe November, December, going into January. We could come as deep as the 70.5, 79% retracement level. And as you can see, those line up quite nicely with that range high. Ideally, I think we've already tested this range high, so I don't want to see us come, in an ideal world, I don't want to see us come as deep as this, but of course it's possible. But to give you an idea, to me, this still looks relatively bullish on the weekly chart. Can it drop? Of course. How low is it going to drop is the real question. So that's when we start zooming in and we say, okay, well, now we can kind of refine things on a little bit of a lower time frame and say, okay, where's price going to go from here? So to me, because I'm looking at the weekly, I'm looking at the monthly, that's not super actionable for you guys. But on the 3-day chart, now we can start getting a little bit tighter on price and say, okay, what is going to happen to price in the next couple of days, couple of weeks? That's what we'll start talking about now. So obviously we've broken out. We've now come back and retested this 3-day bullish order block here. We've ran all these lows. So there's a good chance we're going to see some relief, and that's what we're kind of seeing across the board. This dropped all the way to, what, 313, so it's up 40, 50 bucks, right? Bitcoin dropped sub 10K. You know, it's back at 10.3. I'm still expecting another leg down, to be honest with you. But you know, we'll probably get some relief before then, and I have a feeling we could get something kind of like up into here. If I drop down to the daily, there you go. Well, where'd that level go? Yeah, kind of up into here, right? And then potentially a drop. That would be my expectation in the near term. But before we get too far ahead of ourselves here, let's take a measurement here. From here to here, dropped about 23%. Now, how far did Ethereum drop? 35. Does anyone have a guess to why Ethereum Bitcoin did not drop as hard as Ethereum USD? Yo, what up, Wawin? How you doing? Filippo Vacconi. I'll come back to your question in a bit, my brother. Polinix or Kraken? Rocket TA. Okay. Robinhood. This guy's funny. Let's look at Polo. Oh, goddamn. Yeah, it's got 2015. Okay. What the fuck is this? This is not going to work. I mean, it's nice that it has all this price history, but it's annoying that it has this stupid fucking wick. Am I gonna have to deal with that wick every time? No. Okay. So I mean, it's the same, right? We're looking at this area right here. This consolidation, right, before the breakdown, is essentially where the market bottomed, right? This little up move before the breakdown here, that's essentially where the market bottomed. So I'm just gonna stick with this chart for now. So looking at the 3-day chart, right? If we're just looking short term, nice retest here. Most likely scenario, in my opinion, is either reject from right here. Okay, so super bearish is reject from right here. This would qualify as a breaker, but to me, it looks like it's already pushing through. More realistically, I'm expecting a move up towards this area here and then further downside. So this is going to be key for me, right? So if we come here and then we regain this level, I think you just get super bullish and you long everything. But if we lose this gray block on the 3-day chart, I think you want to start looking to buy a dip into this area here. Right, so there's right where I circled ends up being the 79, 70.5 area. So I hate this fucking fit. There we go. Much cleaner. So this is going to be kind of my key decision point for, I guess, the medium term. If I had to make an estimation about what's going to happen here, is we're going to see a pullback, I think, after a little bit more relief. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see price continue up to here, right? Come down into here. This is going to be the decision point, right? Bullish is going to be a bounce from this area again, and then reclaiming this 36,638 level. I think is super bullish for the market as a whole. If Bitcoin is going to correct a lot deeper, like a lot of people are saying, you know, I see a lot of 7, 8K, 9K charts popping up, which is possible. Anything is possible. But, you know, then I would expect a deeper correction into this area here on Ethereum Bitcoin. So that would be kind of where I would be looking to enter a, you know, swing long. Right, because this is super deep retracement after a nice big breakout of this kind of a year-long range, right? This is, you know, your first breakout here. This is a major breakout. So I'd be looking to buy in this area, absolutely, if given the chance, you know, with a nice loose stop way here, because I'm targeting, you know, the moon. on this type of a position, right? I would be targeting way up into this level, way the fuck up here, right? So that stop is not going to be that bad. Alternatively, if we do find support here, I think you can start looking to get long on the lower time frame. So it's going to be very much dependent on what Bitcoin decides to do. But this is kind of what I'm seeing on the medium term chart. Weekly chart, monthly chart, I do think this is still an uptrend. And again, that low I just showed you, right, would still be very much a higher low, right? This is the low that we don't want to see violated. If we for some reason come down and violate this low, then we got something to worry about. But for now, we've kind of got, it's not quite a triple top, but we've been stabbing up into this area. I expect once we kind of get up this high again, the 0.4 level essentially, I expect us to, really start to fly. Not that this is not obviously a huge move already, but with Bitcoin correcting hard, that's what I expect here. So if Bitcoin is the denominator of this fraction, right? If Bitcoin is going up really hard, this pair can sometimes get nuked. If Bitcoin is dropping, but Ethereum is also dropping, right? You're seeing this go down relative to Bitcoin. There's a reason why Ethereum USD went down harder. It's because the dollar actually is showing some strength here, whereas Bitcoin and ETH are both very weak. So they're going down, at a relatively same rate, whereas Ethereum versus the dollar is weaker than the dollar, as opposed to ETH being much, much weaker than Bitcoin. So this is what I would focus on the 3-day, right? We're going to get some sort of relief bounce. I'm thinking up into here. If I zoom in one more kind of level, to me, this looks like it's going to break up into this area here. So that would be kind of the order block I'd be looking to sell into if I was looking to short. And I already know if I pull a fib here, you guys already know as well what's going to line up right at that order block, right, is right into the sweet spot. So if you're trading FBTC, I think this would be the short back into here, stop above the high or stop above here. That would be the trade that I'm looking for on the short side, because I didn't long in here, right? But I mean, you could see it's a pretty nice long off that 3-day order block. We ran all of these lows here, so would not be surprised to see some relief. That's a short setup I think you could take on FBTC. So kind of in terms of a short-term trade that we could see play out in the next week, it's something like that. Sell that bounce. Okay? Does that make sense to everyone on that setup there? Yes, exactly. BTC also dropped and ETH dropped. That's why FBTC is going down. But ETH relative to the dollar, ETH/USD dropped more because the denominator of ETH/USD is the dollar, and the dollar looked strong where ETH remained weak. So that's why it dropped more. Exactly. All right, so does that kind of short-term setup here, does that plan make sense for everyone? Short this next week, look for bullishness here. If bullishness fails here, we're looking to get long. Hopefully somewhere in this area. Does that make sense? I know the chart's real messy right now. Right, so boom. Look to potentially long here for strong. Otherwise, looking to long right around this area here, 0.26, wherever that fib was. Make sense? If you guys have specific questions, like I know Filippo had a question here and Wasik, I'll come back to those at the end. I just want to get through the analysis part, and then we'll come back and answer the questions. All right, I'm going to assume that plan makes sense. But right now, very simply, expecting some relief up into this area here on ETH/USD. Okay. If we can get up into here, you look to short it. I think that's a pretty easy trade, pretty easy setup. let's assume you are loose with your stop. Right into here is probably going to be close to a 2R. If your stop is tighter, you know, right on the other side of the order block, or maybe here or something, you're getting at least just to the first support, right? If this remains to be weak, right, and it breaks through here and it continues down, right, now you're talking even bigger. Okay, cool. Let's get into FUSD here. Same idea here. We're going to go way out to the monthly, right? And to me, again, I'm feeling similar to Bitcoin here. I'm feeling similar to FBTC here. I don't think this is super bearish. Like, we had this crazy drop from coronavirus, right? Or whatever, the stock market crash, whatever the reason you want to say that we dropped. You know, we had this crazy drop. And I think people are like thinking that they're going to get, you don't get a chance to buy the bottom that often. And you got 2 attempts here to buy ETH sub $100. Okay, I'm just going to put $100 on the chart. $100. Okay. 2 chances to buy ETH sub 100 bucks. Okay. And people are thinking that they're going to get another chance. I just don't see it happening. Looking all the way out at the monthly here. So, I mean, $100, obviously a key level here. Looking all the way out at the monthly here. Very similar thoughts to FUSD or FBTC, right? We had this base. This is basing here to me. This is not a trend yet. This is basing, right? Sideways price action for a year and a half, right? And then we broke this high. To me, that's super key. To me, that means we're bullish. High time frame, right? So you had 2 chances to buy 100 bucks. Just looking at the monthly, worst case scenario I really see on ETH is coming all the way down here. I don't think we do. I think this area has already been tested here on this pullback. I don't think we're going to come back and test this order block again. Can it happen? Fuck this fib. Who the fuck fucked with my fibs? Right? So that'd be a deep ass retrace of this entire move. So it's totally possible. Am I thinking we get sub 200? Not likely, but 240, you know, 289, definitely possible, right? You know, low 200s, it's possible based on the monthly chart. I don't really see it. To me, this is like very worst case scenario on Ethereum USD. I think much more likely is a move into this level here, right? Retest this high. Also lines up pretty well with that order block there. You know, we just broke out of this area. So to me, retesting this previous high is not out of the question before continuation. So 290 seems like an interesting area, high time frame on ETH. If Bitcoin is going to dump, like if Bitcoin goes to 8,500, Ethereum is going to like 290, 270. Right? We'll dial in a little bit. Where did we reject from, right? So you look left. You've got this point of breakdown, right? I always find it funny, and this is going to sound hypocritical because I'm doing this right now. I always find it funny when people post charts being like, you see, this is exactly why ETH dumped 35%, this level right here. But they have not talked about that level ever, and they just put it on their chart after the dump happens, going like, see? Like I get that I'm doing that right now, but I'm also not saying that I called this dump from here. But in hindsight, you can, you know, this is good practice. What you want to start doing is doing this in hindsight, and then you want to start seeing it happen in, you know, live. I was about to say foresight. Does that even make sense? Where's cred when you need them? You know, similarly to this level here, right? This order block here, this is a weekly, so this is essentially a 2-week order block here. Lines up pretty close with this one here. Again, that kind of is the top of the market there. So that's your key SR level to me on the upside. That we reclaim this kind of level here. I think we're going much higher. To me, I don't think this level stops us. I think once we reclaim this level here, I think this is the magnet on price. But just looking at the weekly here, again, you know, came up into here, rejected. So that's going to be your fucking compound your longs level up above here on the high time frame. This is 460 to 485, that little area right in there. It's just this point of breakdown, right? So this is the consolidation that led to breakdown. We've now returned to that level and tested it. Boom. This is a super common thing in trading, okay? And this will happen in all markets all the fucking time, right? So we have this consolidation here that led to this breakdown. If you just map out the consolidation there, right? We return, we'll always test it usually, and then it breaks down. Tons of, and this is fractal, this type of setup. This happens on all time frames, right? So you have price trending, right? Consolidates, breaks down. This is a super common fractal that you will see across all markets. It'll come back, retest that, and that's almost always, the first test is almost always a really good sell. You know, it can come back and test it again. I always like it less on the second time, but that first test is always a really good opportunity to get into a trade, right? So we have, let's see if I can show you another example of this here. On the lower time frame to show you that is indeed fractal. Right there. Didn't really work nearly as well, right? But, you know, kind of here's your consolidation right before the breakdown. All right, came up, tested it. Once it tested it again, I don't think it sold off, sold off as hard. It might have broken through, right? So the first test is the ideal one. This is the bad example here. This is bearish in an uptrend. You know, right here, for example. It's an order block, essentially. It's the same concept. Order block, right? Just the consolidation. The point of the breakout comes back, gets retested, price goes. So we'll see that very common, right? Like you can usually get a pretty good sell on most of those kind of high time frame tests, right? So this is a perfect example on Bitcoin, right? First test, drop. Second test gave you a drop. Third test eventually broke through, right? So again, on Bitcoin, I know I'm jumping around here, but on Bitcoin, it's like, is this that bearish? Like, yes, we can come sweep these lows. I've talked about this way back a few months ago. I was like, I wouldn't be surprised if we came for these lows here, right? Because it's been a free ride for most of these people who started getting long in the last like 6 months. Until like the last 2 months, it's been like a free ride. So yeah, we could come down here and then continue. But to me, it's like, is this that bearish? Boom, 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 right? This is like 8 months. Yeah, like, you know, a long ass time, almost an entire year, 8 months. And then we finally break the level and now we're retesting it. And it's like, oh shit, like this is, could be a perfect SR flip happening right here, right? Of course it can go lower, I'm just saying. Anyways. So now I've lost my train of thought. Been told to keep these to 30 minutes. This one's obviously going to be longer. So we're rejecting from here, right? And like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if we come and retest that breakout high. So remember, I got that breakout high from the monthly here, right? So when I refine this to the weekly now, we have a nice little level there. Nice little order block. Okay. So this is an area of interest to me on Ethereum, right? Is this kind of gray right into the 290 area as a potential area for the higher low to be made, because I do believe, much like FBTC, we had this long basing period. You had 2 shots at buying sub 100 ETH. You didn't buy it either time because you're an idiot. I'm an idiot, excuse me. Why'd I say you? And then, you know, your higher low, maybe it's here, maybe it's deeper, right? So now let's pull some fibs here real quick. So I'm going to do a higher kind of time frame fib. I'm going to do from here to here, right? So that shallow pullback, if this is uber bullish, that shallow pullback is complete, right? Look at how nice that lines up. This entire move, the 50% lines right up with our 290 level. Excuse me. Take a sip of water here. So really like that 50% pullback. Again, like I said, if Bitcoin drops really fucking hard, we could see lower on this. But I'd be very surprised if we came all the way back here. If we do, you long the fuck out of Ethereum. If we somehow come back to 200, like 175 to 200, long the fuck out of it. I don't know if we get that deep. I think it's much more likely that we come into this area here. And that's where we form our higher low for continuation, right? Going into, kind of the end of the year, Q4. So that 50% pullback, I like the confluence there of this order block. This is a monthly level. That's the EQ of this entire kind of swing. So I like that as an area for a potential higher low. Similar to Bitcoin, I do think, and FBTC, I do think we're going to see a quick move up here and then a potential short option happening. So again, that's kind of my high time frame view. High time frame view, I'm still bullish on FUSD. This is the first area that I like for kind of a deep pullback, really deep pullback. I don't think it comes all the way down here, but of course anything is possible if Bitcoin fucking absolutely shits the bed. We could see it in the low 200s. 240 seems, like nice and deep. I wouldn't see it go. Wouldn't really expect it to go much deeper than here. Right? And if we pull on this most recent price swing, the 70.5, so that whole price swing, right? The 50% is at 290, and on this most recent price swing, that sweet spot is right around that 290 level as well. So I like that area as a potential kind of higher low zone. This is where I'm watching. Now, in terms of kind of shorter term trade triggers, I'm thinking very similar to Bitcoin or to FBTC. I'm thinking of selling the pump, right? So if we look here, got an interesting area of price right here, right? So this is like a little order block breakdown. This could be a potential short coming up here, right? So maybe some relief early in this week. It's another 5 or 6% up. It's going to be about 50%, right? Just about 50% of that range. Above the sweet spot. So this would be an area I would be looking to potentially short. If this pushes higher, the next area that I would be watching is right around here. Right? So if Bitcoin pushes all the way up to like 11.1, right? Like way up here, right? Because there's a chance Bitcoin goes like this, right? But if it comes all the way up here and then dumps, ETH could come back above 400. And if it comes back above 400, I do think you still want to look to short it. I think a couple areas that you watch, right, is you could have kind of an over-under, right? That would be a major fucking short. I don't know if it gets that fucking high. This would be an area I'd be looking to short initially. So if I see any kind of weakness here, I would look to get short there. Another area I kind of like is right around the 400 level itself. Right? 408, 410. So maybe we run this high into this area and look to short. But I'm looking to sell bounces, right? I mean, if you're just looking at this on the lower time frame, we're looking at the 12-hour now, right? You have a low, you have a high there, you have a higher high, break in market structure. We're now looking to sell bounces. It's as simple as that, right? So it's where that bounce is going to go. There's a couple areas that I'm looking for. And this is going to be very much dependent on Bitcoin, right? If Bitcoin comes to 10,600, runs this high and dumps, I don't expect Ethereum to go much higher than, maybe 400 at the highest. If Bitcoin goes all the way up to kind of 11,100, 11,200, which I think is a sell on Bitcoin, I think that would be similarly with, kind of trading over 400 on FUSD, right? So if we somehow get this deep of a retracement on Bitcoin, you sell the shit out of it. You sell the bounce. But if this thing is really weak, right, it's going to not come that high. So you know how I talked about the 0.382 being super bullish, right? Works the same in the other direction. So if we just come up here, run this high, and then dump. That would be the most bearish case. And same goes here for Ethereum, right? So if we're gonna just be super bearish on this entire range, right? That 382 kind of lines really nicely up with that order block right there. Right? So 10.6 rejection on Bitcoin, around 380 to 390 rejection on Ethereum. 11.1 rejection on Bitcoin, above 400 rejection on Ethereum. But I'm looking to sell the bounce because I do think we have another leg down. I don't think this just V bottoms. Usually, right, and the reason I'm looking at Bitcoin right now is where this goes, everything's going to go. But usually, right, if this is just kind of like a capitulation move, I want to see this thing rocket back up. Whereas if it's just consolidating here, to me it looks like it's consolidating for another move down. And then we could post, but this is definitely looking this is looking toppy, right? You look at the 10.5 top, it was very similar, right? We had an over under. Very similar kind of top here, right? So it came over the level, right? Back underneath it, sold off. There's another sell. This just took a little longer to develop, but very similar kind of price action here. Right, below level, break above, back underneath. This is definitely looking like at least a medium-term top. So hopefully that all makes sense. I know that was a little rambly and a little off topic there, but I've given you some clear ideas in terms of where I'm looking to potentially short Ethereum on a bounce because we're getting some relief right now. So I'm going to be looking to short bounces. But high time frame, I'm still bullish. I'm still bullish high time frame on this. Much like I'm still bullish on Bitcoin high time frame. I don't think we need to start freaking out that the bottom is not in, because I'm of the mindset that the stock market is going to continue to fly as well. But we could see we had it great for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 like 5 or 6 straight months of straight up. It's okay to have some down. That's part of the process. And if you zoom out, you just look at this bear. This to me is just bullish, right? To me, this is bullish. And same goes for this, right? Like to me, even with all of this, kind of dump happening of 20+%, right? We just broke out of a year-long base. To me, this looks like we're going here sooner than later. All right, let me answer some questions here. Hi, Mayne. I don't want to trade. For dollar cost averaging, what do you suggest? So, Filippo, nothing I can say here is financial advice. I'm not going to tell you what to do exactly, but if I'm looking to dollar cost average into Ethereum, I would be starting to buy on dip. So if we're in a bull market, anytime the market dumps 15, 20, 30%, I'm buying. Simple as that, right? So if you're in the belief that Ethereum USD is going to be trading at $800, I'd say 800. I draw a line at 600. At $800, within the next year, anytime price drops 10+%, I want to buy some, right? So maybe you bought some at 10% down, more at 20% down, you get some more fills at 30% down, and then it bounces, and then your average is not bad, right? Your average is not here, it's the average of the 3 buys, right? So, and if you believe you're in a bull market, I do believe we're in the beginnings of a bull market. I want to be buying coins that I like when they drop 20, 30%. That's how I would start averaging in, right? So you can use that fib tool and say, okay, maybe I'll send some bids at, the 382, some at the 50, and then really low balls at the 70.5. That's what I would be doing to dollar cost average in. Okay. fact that we would get a deep retrace don't show signals of weakness. I don't understand that question. Maybe you can reword this question if you can, my friend. Uh, how do you differentiate between a fake breakout and a real one? So I mean, obviously, it's impossible to know whether the breakout's legit until it happens or not. I mean, you can look at things like volume, you can look at other markets and stuff, right? But a good way to do it is candle closes, right? So if you have let's see, where's a good example of this? Right, candle closes are good, right? So when you have this, where it was resistance, 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 you get that strong candle through. You know, that's your sign that the breakout is legit, right? As opposed to, you know, we just wicked into it, we wicked, and then we're trading back below it. So you can use candle closes as an example, right? So if you have a wick, right, that's why this was not a higher high, right? So we started trading above here, but we never got above the wick. So if we got a candle close through the wick, which we did on this candle, right, that's a breakout of those levels, of this level here, right? Candle close. So a candle close could be a way to do it, right? You could also just look for price action, you know, around it. So if we have a move coming up, what's the price action leading into it? If this is high time frame resistance, right, and the price action is super bullish, and then it starts getting bearish around the level, like maybe on the low time frame, you're starting to see lower lows, lower highs, maybe an SFP, right? Those can be signs that, you know, that move above was fake. Alternatively, right, if we come up, we're bullish, right, and then we're establishing above the level, consolidating after flipping a level, making higher highs and higher lows, that can tell you it's legit. When I'm trading a range, what I do generally, right, is I will say, okay, because in range trading, right, you often get people, they'll say, okay, well, this was just a deviation, right? So the deviation here, that usually means that we're going to start going towards the other side of the range. So how do I know it's a breakout in the range is what I'll want to see is instead of just going out of the ranges, I usually want to see it come and retest the range high or a level, right? Maybe an order block that sent it above the range high, and that confirm is support for me to know that that's a real breakout. So the few different ways you can do it. Candle closes is an easy one, but no one knows what's going to happen, right? Like anyone who tells you this is going to happen 100% is lying to you, right? We could come up to a level, we could trade above it briefly, right? And then we can break down and lose the level, right? And then it becomes an over-under. And oh, it was bearish in hindsight. It was a inverted head and shoulders. You should have known, right? But when you're looking here, right, it looks like it's bullish, right? But what you will know is price action is going to change on the low time frame first. So if you're looking, a good example of this is here. This high, right? So if you're looking here, right? This looked like it was breaking out, right? So it's like bullish as fuck. We're above this level. And if you look at the 3-day, right? If you look at the 3-day, right? This looks bullish. You're like, oh shit, we're breaking through, big close through. We're looking bullish as fuck. But price action changes on the low time frame first, right? So on the 3-day, we look super bullish, right? But then on the H4, okay, well, we're coming up into here. Where's the controls for the fast forward thing? Oh, here we go. Right? Oh, we're starting to show what? Potential bearishness on the H4, right? We rejected from a bearish order block. Okay, now we have a lower low formed here, right? So on the 3-day, it's still a one candle, right? But on the H4, we have a lot more detail. Now we're starting to see bearish price action, right? Bearish order block respected. We just broke market structure to the downside. Now I'm flipping my bias to say, okay, I'm looking to sell a move up into here, Do we even get it? I think I might have fucked this up. Oh, there we go. Right up into that area I just drew out. And then there's your huge drop. Right? So impatient person is selling here. Right? The smart person, like you, says, okay, well, the H4 just broke market structure. That thing I talked about like 20 minutes ago, right? There's the point of breakdown. There's the return to that point. And then boom. And then you know the rest. The rest is history. Start trading down, right? Whereas on the 3-day, though, the entire time, right, all you see on the 3-day is an up candle and a down candle, right? Because on the 3-day, just as likely, right, we could have seen a green candle the next day, right? But the price action was shifting bearish during this 3-day period on the low time frame. So that's another thing you can use to kind of, find confirmation of a breakout. How do you differentiate? So an example of look for bullishness here. Exactly what I just explained there, but upside down, right? Flip it and reverse it, like Missy Elliott. Sorry, that's so corny. So if I regain a level, right? If I'm looking to sell into here, right? If I'm looking to sell into here, what I want to see, right? On the 3-day, right? It might just look like this. Again, might be one green candle, next candle is red. So what I want to do is I want to zoom in, right? And I want to see, okay, right? So if price comes up here, I want to see bearish price action, right? Look for bullishness, look for bearishness, just flip this on its head, right? So I want to see maybe this, right? And then I want to see what? A bearish order block get respected, right? And then maybe a break in market structure to the downside. And now if I'm not selling here, this would be your anticipatory sale, right? I'm absolutely selling after we make that low, right? Boom, now I'm looking for continuation, right? So bearishness is something as simple as that, right? And then you're entering on this pullback after it broke market structure to the downside, formed a lower high, respected a bearish order block, right? Bullishness would be the exact opposite, right? If I'm coming into this level and I want to buy, right? I don't just want to buy the first touch, right? I want to see something like this. Maybe there's a bullish order block here. That could be a buy. Alternatively, now we've broken market structure bullishly. Now I'm buying here, right? That would be your aggressive buy, your anticipatory. This would be your more confirmation buy, right? Maybe we break through the level, right? Okay, no buy yet, but then it comes back, reclaims it. Well, now we have what? An over-under, a head and shoulders, whatever, right? That would be bullishness to me, right? Okay, maybe I don't buy this retest here, but then it breaks these highs. Now it's broken market structure bullishly. Now I'm buying a pullback. So these are kind of price patterns that you're going to want to get used to spotting, right? And again, like I said, price structure is going to move on the low time frame first. On the 3-day, this 3-day candle could go here. The next 3-day candle could be like this. But on the H4, you're going to see a move up, boom, and there was your entry on the H4, but on the 3-day, it's just one candle. So that's when you got to start blending your time frames as well. But that's what I mean by look for bullishness, look for bearishness, look for those types of price action patterns and setups. I don't live in the US. I live in Canada. So I believe you can use Prime XBT in the US. I'm not sure. I know I can use it here in Canada. That's a great exchange. You can use Binance. I believe, I don't know what you can use in the US, but I trade on Prime, Binance, and BitMEX primarily. FBC looks similar to a trade that Donald took on Link. Glad to see me and Duck are looking at the same things. He's a very smart guy. You don't keep your levels, always redraw. No, I mean, I'll keep my levels. I'm just redrawing just because I'm showing you guys some analysis from clean charts and stuff. But it's always good every once in a while to delete levels and redraw them. Sometimes it's too easy to get stuck in a bias when you're looking at the same chart all the time with the exact same levels. One more question. What kind of tips would you give someone who is looking to learn price action trading? Some important things that you experience yourself as a newbie. I would start with Crypto Cred's YouTube page and Crypto Cred's Twitter. He has a pinned tweet. He has a huge resource of price action stuff, from like very beginner marking up the chart to like advanced entry triggers, patterns, all sorts of shit, all laid out very organized. And it's all for free. This guy spent hundreds and thousands of hours learning this and then transcribing it and to video and into written form for y'all to understand. So you're doing yourself a disservice if you haven't read through that. That's a great place to start. Otherwise, chart time, that would be something to practice, right? You're not going to learn to see things in advance if you're not spending time on the charts. You talk about order block. For info, the order block is always before the dump. Can also be in consolidation. Yes, that's a long conversation. If you go on my YouTube and go back to April of 2018, I believe April 9th. It's disgusting that I know this, but I did a couple videos back in April of 2018. I believe it might be 2019, but I believe it's 2018, where I talk a lot about order blocks and how to draw them. But price only moves a few ways, right? It's accumulating, then it's expanding, then it's either reaccumulating and expanding again, or it's distributing and then unwinding. So, and that's what Wafflebot here is saying there. But yeah, go watch those videos. ICT is the one who coined the term order block. That's where I learned it. It works very much like supply and demand. So look up ICT, check out crypto cred stuff, look up supply and demand. That's where you'll get that kind of stuff. When you say sell, are you selling spot or shorting on leverage? So, I mean, to me, everything I'm going to be talking to you guys about here is active trading. For the most part, I'm pretty comfortable in my spot positions. I tethered up some of my BTC above 12K, or not above 12K, excuse me, above 11K. And I tethered up some of my Ethereum above 400. Right? Like, to me, it just seemed like good areas to sell, and I'm starting to rebuy that. You know, I'll buy Bitcoin at 10,000, I'll buy it at 9,000, I'll buy more at 8,000 if it lets me. I'll buy Ethereum at 300 and 290 and 250 if it lets me. But I'm also ready to just kind of buy back, right? So if you sold Ethereum at, 440, like you were a god and you sold it up here, right? Worst case scenario, you just rebuy if we come back up here, right? So you might as well, you can get cheaper here, but if it all of a sudden just pumps back up, you can always just buy back, right? So, but everything I'm talking about for the most part is going to be trading, leverage trading. It's not going to be spot. But all that stuff I talked about in terms of spot, those weekly and monthly charts, the high time frame charts, that's where you want to be making your decisions on spot. Crypto Cred told me about you in one of his streams, and I'm happy that I watched your channel. Amazing content. Thank you so much, and thank you to Cred for giving me a shout out. He is one of my in real life friends. Very good dude. So love the guy, and yeah, check out his stuff. It's absolutely great. He spent a lot of time doing that all for free. Leave the man a tip. All right, guys, this is already double the amount of time I allocated for this video, but first one, I was too excited to make it short. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm really excited about this series. I'm going to be doing these every Sunday at the exact same time, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll be covering Ethereum. We'll start talking about Bitcoin and stuff in other streams. Thanks again to Prime XBT for helping me put this on. Please do me a favor. Click on the link in the description. Sign up. Deposit some money. You can trade with there. The ideas that I'm sharing with you on there with me. And yeah, subscribe to my YouTube. Leave me comments, questions you might have. And I'm really looking forward to doing these every week. Ryan, thanks for being here. Thanks, Cred, for sending me all the views, man. All right, everyone. Thanks so much. I'll talk to you guys on Twitter, and we'll see you again here next week.